So good evening. This is a preliminary subdivision review hearing on the application of Michael Moore for proposed two-lot subdivision on land he owns at 319 Irish Settlement Road. Today is Monday, February 6th, 2023. And this application is subject to review under the 2011 Unified Land Use and Development Regulations as amended through March 6, 2018. The 2015 Road Driveway and Trail Ordinance as amended December 18, 2018, and was classified as a minor subdivision during the sketch plan review meeting was held previously this year. I'm ad-libbing a little bit because my script isn't exact, so bear with me. Preliminary subdivision review. Okay. Copies of the rules of procedure that the board follows are available for review at the front counter and can be obtained from Nick Atherton, the Planning and Zoning Administrator. The order of speakers we'll hear tonight will hear and ask questions of the applicant or his or her representative. We'll hear and ask questions of the Planning and Zoning Administrator. We'll give other people in the room a chance to speak. Under our rules of procedure, each speaker is limited to 5 minutes. However, that time can be extended upon request to the board and majority consent of the board. The applicants and or their representatives will have an opportunity to respond, and final comments will be solicited from all parties. All speakers should adjust their comments to the board and not to other parties present in here. Are there any state or municipal representatives present and acting in their representative capacity other than Nick? No. An interested party information sheet is available to all attendees at the front counter or from the Planning and Zoning Administrator. Please review it for further information. Only those interested persons who have participated either orally or through written statements in an ERB proceeding may appeal a decision rendered in that proceeding to the Environmental Division of Superior Court. If you are an applicant, applicant's representative, or an interested party wishes to participate in the hearing, we'll have you come to the witness chair, declare to state your name, residential address, and mailing address if it's different. We'd also like an email address as well, right? I'm now going to swear in all those present who wish to speak tonight. All individuals who plan to testify must take the following oaths by responding "I do" at the end. Do you hereby swear that the evidence you give on the cause under consideration shall be the whole truth and nothing but the truth under the pains and penalties of perjury?
I do.
I do. Okay. I'm getting a nod there on screen. That's what I do? All right. Okay. Are there any conflicts of interest?
I do.
Okay. Are there any conflicts of interest, or have there been any ex-parte communications on the part of the board members?
No.
Okay. So we have a hybrid hearing tonight. Not too much remote participation other than the applicant's consultant, but we'll make sure everybody, should anybody else join, we'll have to swear them in and we'll give them an adequate chance to participate. At this point in time, I'd like to enter into the record the package of information that was posted on the town webpage by the Planning and Zoning Administrator prior to this hearing. This information before today was exhibits A through U. Right. What do we put up today?
We're up to you today.
We're up to you today.
Yes,
so
that includes 2 pieces of documentation relating to the wastewater permit and an exhibit that should have been included in the letter, Exhibit K.
All right, so exhibits are available in the more preliminary subdivision file here at the town hall and also on the town's website. So we got exhibits A through U included in that. So the next up, we'll hear from the applicants and or their representatives. So not everybody was at the hearing. I don't know if everyone went to the sketch plan that's here. Were you at the sketch plan hearing?
There's been several versions. I was at the first.
Yeah, so just what we wanted was high level overview to familiarize everybody. We're looking for you to give us that or him.
I'll start, sure.
Okay.
But it originally started with trying to get a 3-lot subdivision, and that was not possible. So we went with the 2-lot, and I went to the northern side and try to subdivide that, and it did pass the vote, but there was some major concerns about the curb cut and the site distance there. So, you know, it was recommended that, you know, try somewhere else, and so I did, and so I went to the southern part of the lot now, and I was trying to subdivide in the back section there, on the other side of the power lines, which would involve a very long driveway with, you know, steep grades around it, which, you know, it was kind of a hassle, and you know, the board here, you know, kind of frowned upon that. They didn't like that idea of the long driveway with the wildlife corridor issue. And so I did present the two letters from my wildlife specialist. But again, so I asked the board at that meeting, hey, you know, would you guys rather just have me put it next to the road? And I think all of you said yes, but you know, so here I am, that's where I'm at. So I'm just trying to follow, you know, the suggestions you guys give me, and I feel like I have, you know, trying to meet those requests. I won't say demands, but those requests that you guys have given me to the best of my ability. And so here I am. I've now had my engineer draw up what you see before you, and it's right up against the road. And the septic field is no longer pushed on the other side of the power line, so we found a place to put it close. Even though there are power lines there as well, but I did get them to say that was okay. So that was one of the exhibits that I gave you guys.
Came in late.
Yeah, it's from the electric company. That was not me. I've been after them for months, and she just kept pushing me off, but she finally came through and got it to us. So
I thought it was funny that they charged you $1 for an easement on your land.
I know, right?
Wait a minute.
Anyway, so I you know, I'm just trying to finish this up, and it's been a long haul, and
We'll go this summer, right?
it's been going on for a while, and it depends on which one we're looking at, but yeah. Steven, if there's anything you want to add, feel free.
Yeah, since last time I spoke to this board was the preliminary for the lot on the northern side. Since then, there's been a boundary line adjustment on that side where about 1.5 acres was conveyed to the property to the north. And then, yeah, so now we're just looking at a simplified version where we're subdividing to the south, using the same curb cut that Mike's currently using for his property. You know, short driveway going down to a home site. And then, yeah, as Mike said, we have the septic in kind of, unfortunately, the only location we could really put it due to the power line and the spur line coming up to the road. But we have been out there with Velco, coordinate that all with them, and they're fine with what we're proposing. And yeah, I mean, you know, we submitted a narrative that kind of went through the various standards of the neighborhood and natural and cultural resources, stormwater erosion control, and go in any of these in any more detail if you want. But you know, we've done our best to, you know, to provide everything, you know, that's needed for this stage of the review.
I had one question for you, and it's just on the design flow for the septic design. You have 4-bedroom house proposed, but the design flow is 3 bedrooms, but it's 7-person occupancy. And I didn't quite understand that.
Let me see here. Hold on.
You
There may have been an error. It was, I believe it's supposed to be 4 bedrooms, which would be 7 people.
So it would be 7 people. Okay.
Yeah, because the first 3 bedrooms are 2 people each,
Yeah.
and then the 4th bedroom. But let me just confirm that that's actually what we submitted on our plans to the state.
Well, if we've got a copy of what you submitted to the state, it's
Yeah,
on
we have
this.
490. Oh, it says 3-bedroom. It should be 4-bedroom.
Okay, so that's just a typo.
Yeah, it's a typo. It's 4-bedroom, then it says 3-bedroom right under it, which
Right,
is a typo. Yeah.
That's the part that confused me.
Yeah, that's a typo. I will correct that now.
Well,
Talk to Allison about that.
I'm fine with 3-bedroom. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, it works for either.
And so you got a pre-treatment system too?
Correct.
Could you educate the board a little bit on what that does?
So the pre-treatment allows us to get a higher loading rate and also allows us to, loading rate means more gallons per square foot. So basically a pre-treat unit, the standard they're held to is BOD is biological oxygen demand and TSS is total suspended solids. A typical septic system or typical residential waste is typically between, say like 150 milligrams per liter for both. A pre-treatment system will knock that down to below 30 milligrams per liter for both BOD and TSS, and they call that a filtrate. So it kind of pre-treats it before it goes to the system where it gets final treatment. And that allows us to both increase the loading rate so we could shrink the footprint a little bit, and then it also allows for us to reduce the vertical separation to groundwater. So, but Mike's got good soils in general.
It's all sand there.
Yeah, it's mostly because of the power line corridor and having to work with that footprint before that line comes through is why we're on pre-treatment.
I don't mean to derail it, but just in summary, you got on-site drilled water proposed, on-site septic, shared curb cut, 4-bedroom house. Those are all the high points said. Okay.
What's that?
Those are all the high points of the
Yeah.
on-site wastewater disposal, on-site drilled well, 4-bedroom house, shared curb cut. So, and a wicked good pre-treatment system.
Overkill.
Yeah, those are the highlights.
Awesome. Anything else to add?
Be happy to answer any questions or get into detail on any specifics.
Okay, I'm going to move on to Nick. I'll give him an opportunity. Nick, I'd like you to assume everybody read the report and just give us the summary. You don't have to reread it.
Sure.
Assuming everybody read the report.
I won't be offended if you didn't, but I will give that summary. We've got a pretty good education so far on the background proceedings, so I won't revisit those, but I do want to hit a few highlights. The rural residential district standards. This project fits pretty neatly into that. It's the rural residential district calls for cluster development along Irish Settlement Road, a couple other roads as well, but we'll focus on Irish Settlement for this one. This meets all of the applicable dimensional standards in terms of lot sizes, frontage, and indeed would cluster development along the edge of Irish Settlement Road and leave a space set back from the road undeveloped. I'm noting that because that's a change from the last plan that we saw for this subdivision. So there's a much shorter driveway and much closer to the road house design that we're seeing here. Let's see. Yeah, so I think all new development, including the septic system, is within about 150 feet of the road. Let's see. Yes. So as mentioned before, shared curb cut.
What's the setback from the road? Maybe you can share that with the board.
The setback from the 30 feet front setback from the.
And we've got nothing closer than 30 feet. So.
We got nothing closer than 30 feet. Yeah. In fact, that 30-foot setback gets used as a part of the building envelope, I believe. So
front line and
yeah, we have a sort of a smaller restricted building envelope that follows contour lines as well as minimum setbacks, depending on which section you're talking. Yep, 4-bedroom house, shared curb cut. areas of steep slope that came up in the last, during the sketch plan, so it's probably worth talking about here. We have areas of steep, which is 15 to 25%, and very steep, which is over 25% on this property. The map that I clipped was about the best I could get, and it doesn't do a very good job of actually showing this in granular detail, but some of the maps submitted by the Mike and his consultants do a better job of that. They show a house that has been moved to avoid steep slopes. It does appear to depict an external deck or some kind of porch that may either abut or have a footing in an area of steep and very steep slopes, but it's not entirely clear just based on the picture that I saw. And yeah, so that was something I thought I'd bring up. We have no surface waters to talk about here, flood hazard, anything like that. Let's see. Probably should talk about some of the existing site conditions. This is a good catch-all for sort of natural resources stuff. We've already discussed steep slopes, but along with that, there's also drainage, some agricultural soils, mature timber. Due to the location of the new housing site close to the road and the much shorter driveway, there's not a lot of disturbance that can be, predicted to the mature timber or any of the agricultural soils that are located on the property. Let's see. We have natural areas and wildlife habitat that the state has mapped some priority habitat blocks, but I'll direct your attention to Exhibit K, which is a letter from an ecologist discussing the projected impact to those habitat blocks, coming from someone who has more expertise in that than I do. And Exhibit U is a map that accompanies that letter. You can pull that up on the screen if folks would like to take a look at that together. And let's see what else. That's really all that I wanted to highlight, actually. I wanted to talk about access slopes and timberlands, and those appear to have all been addressed between the sketch plan and this new draft of the proposal. So that's all I wanted to highlight.
All right. Anybody on the public side of Moody Soto? The KS or Steve?
Yeah, I have another employee just
Listen,
listening
okay.
in as more of a training for them.
He's a friendly then.
Yeah.
All right. Questions or comments by the board?
I did have a question. We're just gonna kind of rapid fire questions. Okay.
Yeah. We're at that. Usually we go public and then the board can interrupt at any time. But
Okay. This is either a question for Michael or Steven. We had the site visit yesterday and I was there, and it was really helpful to see where the building's going to sit, and especially to have it staked out. That was really helpful. So I see you didn't have a lot of area to work with between the power lines and setbacks. My question is about the access. I'm definitely in favor of shared access, and like the design. There was SP2 was one of the sheets submitted, and it shows a profile, and it looks like from the edge of Irish Sullivan Road, it's going to be built up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that's what I was hoping. I thought that was good because when we were out there,
Oh, I need to build that up, man.
it drops pretty quick.
It sucks.
And so, yeah, like
trying to get my gas guy in there. He was like not happy.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm sorry.
and so, Matt actually noticed that as well. It's kind of steep right at the road, so it looks like that area is going to be built up. Okay.
Yeah.
And then like a 3% approach, and then it drops down into the new lot. Okay.
It's the B71.
Yes. Yeah. So
Yeah.
and so okay, it was hard to tell from the grading on the plan, but the profile
I should have happening coming up in the spring, so,
Okay,
yeah, once it kind of thaws.
yeah, well, I think that'll make it be a big improvement. And the other only question I had was, did we have a survey submitted or like a draft survey? I don't think we did.
Not, we can get a plat together for the next round if that, I mean, Chris Haggerty is really good at that. But yeah, we wanted to really get through this phase before we racked up his survey bill anymore at this point. 'Cause he's had a bunch of survey work, I mean, between the boundary line adjustment and you know, getting the boundary here and the stakeouts like this, you know, so we wanted to make sure this was well received, but we can get, if this gets approved, we could do you know, the plat will be a part of it, and so will the, you know, the legal requirements and stuff, again, easements that would be needed.
Okay, yeah, that would be great. So, yeah, I would just look for that at final. But I do appreciate you redesigning things based on our last meeting.
Yeah, Chris has become a good friend of mine.
Yeah, I know, he's a
Talking
good
to
guy.
the company, man.
Yeah. Good surveyor.
Yeah, he's great.
So we've got impact on steep slopes, very steep slopes, and just plain old 15 to 20% slopes, right? So those three areas are highlighted on the colored drawing that was part of the printed package. We have to go through a conditional use review to impact the steep slopes, right? And we can tell the applicant that just move forward, we have to see a little bit more detail on how you're gonna, I'm looking at the drawing going, you're cutting pretty much all vegetation down. You're gonna cut all the vegetation down to put the infrastructure improvements in, like the house foundation, the culvert, the driveway. You got a couple of retaining walls in there, you know. So we want to make sure that there's attention being paid to. We had a bad experience when the contractor opened up too much of the site, and we want to make sure that that doesn't happen.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be minimal. You know, the beauty of it is there's no one down below me to impact, and then also like, you know, better management practices, putting in, you know, noodles and straw bales and try to you know, have it for, you know, irrigation or.
Isn't the guy with the goats down below here?
Yeah, you know, they're fine with that. They're out. So they're no longer.
All right. We didn't care.
Yeah, we did our best to avoid impacts of very steep slopes as best we could. There's some minor impacts of very steep slopes. You know, we are proposing, you know, we have a fill slope coming off the driveway that we're proposing to be planted with, you know, native perennial shrubs. You know, we also, you know, have a ditch to sort of collect any water to make sure the water's properly managed on the uphill side of the driveway, divert from the house as well. But we can provide a little more detail on the plantings and restoration as well, if that's what you see.
In order for you to develop on, is it steep slopes and very steep slopes? Like, we're gonna have to turn a blind eye to the very steep slope.
Yeah.
And there's minimal
There is,
impact.
yes, there's.
So if we get convinced that you're paying attention to the steep slope part, we can probably turn a blind eye to the very steep slope part because of the amount of impact. I'm just talking out loud here, guys. We don't have to do anything we say. I'm just, so we're gonna need some kind of insurance on the next hearing that there's a well thought out erosion containment plan.
That there's what?
There's a well thought out erosion containment plan, and that's how you sell it to us. Right. There's already a grading plan, so that's great, and that was part of the requirements. And happy to see that, very glad to see that actually. But the what I'll call the landscaping plan afterwards is, I don't know that we need a landscaping plan. Anyway, Yeah,
Yep.
not much more than what's shown. That's
Yeah, we are showing silt fence on the downslope side and a level spreader at the end of that culvert. And I mean, there is a desire to preserve as much vegetation as we can in the front for a buffer, but some will have to go just due to the nature of the project. But yeah, we can write up a narrative to go along, a better narrative to go along with the erosion control plan.
I actually just maybe highlight something on your plans. I'm
Okay.
the guy on the backhoe is not going to read the narrative.
Right, he's not gonna see that part.
He's never going to see it. So we just want to make sure that the earth mover knows what's being expected of him.
Okay.
Stephen, will this require an erosion control permit from the state?
No,
No? Okay.
no, we're well below an acre. I mean, it's well below an acre, and we don't need a stormwater permit either.
Okay.
Usually when we get into steep slopes, it's required.
Yeah,
And so that we use that as our burden of proof. And if the state approved it, then we're
okay.
cool.
This one, yeah, we'll have to.
This one, so we have to, even though they don't have to get the state permit.
Yeah.
We have to be convinced that.
Yeah, still want to ask for some sort of erosion control.
Oh wait, yeah, we do have. Okay. Yeah, and sheet D1, we do have a ton of erosion control notes and details, and we can we have a whole narrative that kind of goes through what should be expected, and this includes disturbance from Mike's lot too. That was done, and then but yeah, we'll go through it and make sure it's enhanced on the plan as well as you. But on sheet D.1, which should be it's the four or five on the plan set. If you have it as one, but it's
Yeah, I'll pull that up. Sorry, I thought you meant exhibit D. Yes.
Our drawing number. Okay.
it's sheet DT1, which is details and notes.
Dan, you want a bigger screen? Okay.
No.
We might pop out.
What's going on?
Yeah.
It's not your eyes.
It doesn't render well. Yeah, yeah.
So I think we could highlight some of the, where we put the erosion control blankets and stuff, just so it's a little easier.
There you go, zoom in, yeah, to 100%. Get it better.
So here's our barrier detail.
Yeah. You gonna do a dry laid stone wall, or you gonna, just doesn't matter? Or you retaining walls, or?
Yeah, well, something will be there. I like it natural rocks. Like, when you start digging into the hillside a little bit.
You're gonna uncover some rocks on it.
Yeah, I just lay them all out and use them, so.
Yeah.
Are we still in the question answer period?
We are.
Oh,
Nobody's asking, so I'm
Oh,
trying to
okay.
make small talk to get you guys' brains going.
So I have a question for Nick, actually. Were you talking about this part of the building that looked like it was in the steep slopes?
Yes, I was referring to there appears to be part of a porch that's been rendered there, but
It's a stairwell down.
The staircase,
We can put that somewhere else too. It doesn't necessarily.
yeah, we can remove it. It just seemed like a good spot for one, but
What's that? Retaining wall stairs.
I mean,
It's, if you were out there.
It's a good way to get down a steep slope, to put in a stairway.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's one way to deal with it.
Gotta get to the second field so you can play volleyball.
I had a question actually about the environmental report. And I think if I'm reading it correctly, I'm just getting maybe the author was just mixing up east and west.
Yeah, I think that-
Does that seem,
Yeah, you
right?
mixed it up.
He's talking about across the road as west. I think he means
Mhm.
east.
It is east.
So,
Has he been to the site?
What the?
Has he been to the site?
I don't know if he has or not. I have no idea. All I know is that I paid him some good money to come out there and write to you.
Because his report, I've read his report. I don't get the feeling I think he's just sitting in his office looking at maps.
I don't know. He's the expert and I'm not, so I didn't question his expertise on it.
well, I just reading it through and not knowing too much about how one would look at it environmentally. It just seems like he's saying, yes, we've already messed up the
Yeah. that's-
corridors, so this is
On
what
the east side, right. I think he called it the west side.
yeah, so he's saying we're not gonna mess it up anymore. It's already messed up. That's sort of,
Or if you look at that next plan you put in there, the wildlife crossing corridors, Irish Settlement Road,
right,
and Mike's parcel's on the west side,
yeah.
and the other parcel's on the east side, like where Roy lives,
Yeah.
the old house is.
Roy and Marius and.
Yeah,
So what he was essentially saying was that those buildings and driveways have already cut off or
yeah, but
crossing.
I mean, yeah, I think that's what he's saying.
Yeah,
yeah,
Freaking deer, you know, anything that's grown in front of my house, the deer eat it.
Yeah.
Like, so.
this was this.
They're still there. I'm not gonna deny that, man.
This
So are
is,
the owls and the bears.
terrestrial wildlife. I thought it was just amphibian, but it's all crossing, so.
There's more bears now than I've ever seen. And there,
They're going after the bug feeders on it?
I don't know, man. I think they're going after all the compost.
Yeah.
so I mean, with the wildlife stuff, with the boundary line adjustment that Mike did, there's kind of, where he was looking to put the house on the last review we did, I guess about a year ago. That's now open as well for crossings. But yeah, I mean, talking with the wildlife consultant, basically anything on the road side of the power lines he thought was acceptable. He had a little more reservations if we went over the power lines to the west, the actual west.
Yeah, I think the gist was that it was the least impactful of any development that could happen on that lot.
I guess while we're on the wildlife piece, I think we might need a new map from the wildlife person. Right, can you pull up the one that you shared today?
You can, but I think because we're within a certain distance of the road, it kind of doesn't necessarily matter. Like that was for the last subdivision we did. But it's basically the same would apply no matter where we put that on the east side of those power line corridor. So when I was talking to Jeff, he basically said north or south, it didn't really matter. He was more concerned about, the open area to the west and, and what that may do. So, within, 100 to 150 feet of the road, he didn't have any issues, especially considering kind of what the existing development pattern.
Okay, I guess it just strikes me as a bit confusing because Michael's lot doesn't look like that anymore.
Well, actually,
And-
it's the old septic, where he's got the old septic was where we first proposed it, but now the septic is different, which is where you see it on here, septic field, that is. And then my original is to try to get that house on the west side of that power line. And that was when he first he said, he doesn't recommend putting anything back there. But that was before he saw all the development across the street based on maps or whatever. So I'm gonna assume that he did come there and look at it, or he would have saw those houses there.
No, they came up eventually on Google.
Yeah. So then basically what he did is then he says, okay, well, you know what? Now that I saw that all the development on the east side of the road of Irish Settlement, he goes, all that according to him, his expert opinion is that, you know, that corridor is gone. You know, based on state regulations and how, I don't know how they determine that, but so anyway, that's why I came and put the house more closer to the road now, because that was the first original thing is saying, you know, stay on this side of the power lines where it is now. There shouldn't be any issues at all with that.
I don't even know what that map is saying, so.
I think that's what I'm getting
I
at.
don't,
Well,
what does that tell me?
I don't know, maybe when.
Well, the letter from Arrowwood.
Pointer we had?
I chose mine.
Oh, that was yours.
Well, in the letter that we got just the other day, that was from February 22, right? So that was
This was in support of the last application.
the last application. Yeah, so it wasn't an updated letter.
Yeah.
But
No, I mean,
Okay.
so it goes back to the very first letter, which is saying, keep it on this side of the power lines.
yeah, okay, that's what I thought. I was confused when I saw that map after I read the letter because it was the old layout, but then I realized the letter was dated from a year ago, so they were submitted together.
But is this supposed to show a corridor?
So right now, you got the corridor here, right? You know, you've got area development here, right? And you've got a corridor here.
Okay.
This is where the house is going. So disrupting the last remaining corridor.
I see.
No, that's right here, actually, this is where we're at. Here, not here, here.
That's your.
That's
existing
your house.
Yeah.
Right, this is my house. Okay, you're saying that the new house. Okay,
Yes.
now I'm
Yeah.
So here, and then what I did is I subdivided this
So
here,
that no longer.
no
exists.
longer is there. And now what, you know, Steve was saying is that now you have this huge corridor here.
Okay.
Depends on where the animal's going.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, man.
Where's your compost? He's going right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Where's the bird here?
Steve, did you understand what we were talking about?
Yeah. I think. So, I
We're
mean,
putting at the screen. I know you can't see it, but.
yeah, you're trying to understand the difference between, you know, this map and what's actually being proposed now, because this is outdated.
Yeah.
Yeah, essentially all the development north of Mike's lot is now gone, and it's basically been pushed to the south. I guess we'll let you guys deliberate if you want an updated letter. I mean, I know I've talked to Jeff and he was fine with the lot to the north or the south.
We just want to know if he's been to the site.
Maybe modify the letter to get east and west.
Yeah, to get that correct. Okay.
Record, I guess.
Yeah, I agree. I was
Yeah,
confused when I read it too. I was like, God, I think he's got these directions wrong, man.
Yeah, I think I talked to him about that, but I guess he never did anything about it. But it was a year ago, so.
Yeah, I for me personally, this map has no utility because it's incorrect in a number of ways. And so I mean, don't submit it with your final application, or submit an updated one. I think that's just me personally.
No, but that's a valid concern. Any comments?
No questions really. I think it's pretty clear. I thank you for moving the development to the east of the power lines, because I did also had a lot of heartache with tearing up the woods and the steep slopes, and I think this is the right way to go. So I don't have any heartache over this. I think I'm okay with it. And But since we had, on the previous parent lot subdivision, the board had tried to put a condition of no further subdivision. That was not worded properly legally, so it fell apart, but I think at least I'm gonna request a condition to be put in this time. I think you already know that, but it was put in the previous decision. That's the only comment I had, that this would be the final subdivision of this lot.
So yeah, I can't subdivide anymore because of the selling off the,
You don't have the acres.
boundary adjustment. I don't have acres. So you can't do it. That was the whole purpose
Wasn't
of
there
doing
one lot
boundary
that's like
adjustment.
8 or something?
No, it's boundary adjustment on the,
Okay, so
that's why we.
So the 8 acre.
eight was the pen.
That was the-
Okay, 8.6. So if
Yeah.
it's 5, you wouldn't be able to get any.
I'm not sure it's totally moot though, because the regs could change.
Yeah.
You're right.
And we could
Yeah, if you went
decide
down
now
local.
that we don't think there's the possibility for further subdivision, which, if that happened in the previous decision, then
It was supposed to happen on previous, it just was worded incorrectly, so it wasn't legally binding. That's what happened. It
yeah,
was worded as a
but I
binding.
think that, I guess that's why I would say it's not a moot.
So,
Well, unless they change it to a 1 lot or 2 lot sub, acre, or, but again, it's,
sure, I hope-
as of right now, I mean, if it's a 3 lot, which
Yeah.
3 acre, I can't do it. But if they went down to a 2 or 1 acre, which I don't see happening, but it could, 20 years from now, who knows? Anyways.
Yeah, the town would have to probably drastically change their rules to open up this lot, and the wildlife corridor would have to be a non-issue too, because really the only places left to build after this goes are on the west side of those power lines, which you guys probably wouldn't approve currently, and it's tough to get a drive over there anyway, and but that would be, I think, kind of a big rewrite of your rules where you almost change the rural district, dimensional standards.
So Nick's leading the planning commission to rewrite the rules, and they're not getting easier.
Yeah, every time it goes the other way.
Yeah, it's going the other way.
But yeah, currently under your current rules, this is all he could do anyway, is,
Smaller lot.
1 lot. So,
Yeah, if I may, I think Stephen summed it up pretty well. Regardless of what the planning commission wants to do in terms of acreage and dimensional requirements as regards subdivision, I don't see the access rules getting any looser. So just simply finding a place to put another single family home, even on a smaller minimum lot size, would be extremely difficult given the practicalities of having to put a new septic system and access into that single family home. So I think it's kind of, practically speaking, precluded. But that's just, that's my opinion.
To show on the road?
One other thing that I wanted to just ask about was the building envelope, because it extends down some steep areas behind where the house is to the
I didn't see that.
power line
It's just
corridor.
offset the.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
But it
And-
included some very steep slopes, right? Is that what you're saying?
It does exclude a chunk of very steep slopes in there. I guess I'm just curious,
Building envelope, correct?
the
Yeah.
building envelope. Yeah,
Are we looking at the same
I
drawing?
gotta Stevie that.
So I have it up here, Exhibit D.
yeah, there's a lot going on. in that
Yeah,
drawing,
It is.
so it's kind of hard to.
Yeah. Perhaps there's a different exhibit.
To be honest, that's kind of why I asked about the survey, is when we do get a survey with the next application, it would clearly show that building envelope. And it'd probably be a lot easier to read.
This one might actually be a little bit easier.
Oh, it is, actually.
Sorry, folks. Yes.
I mean, we can clear it up how you like. just kind of trying to show the areas that are suitable and non-suitable. It looks like the island's missing in this one though.
Can folks see what I see here?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll note that it has a jog in here to, as you say, avoid that area of steep slopes. And then along these sides and along here, or like, the north, east and southwest sides, it appears to just follow the minimum setback. And then follows the edge of the power lines.
I mean, we could square it off in the back too to basically just kind of go behind, you know, the almost follow the silt fence, if that makes more sense. And if people want to change it in the future, they can. But
Yeah.
I guess it depends on what, you know, what makes sense. We were just trying to show the areas that, you know, appeared suitable within that footprint. Should people want to revise the plan in the future or something. But.
It just avoids all steep slopes, all peach color.
Honestly, man, those steep slopes are not, I was there and looking at it, it's not that steep. I mean, it's like, it's very minimal steep.
Yeah, it's interesting when you're out there in person versus looking at the contours and stuff. You're like, oh, that's not that steep, really. But and I can work with Chris a little bit on cleaning that up too, and see if he has any suggestions. Chris Haggerty.
Yeah, I'm okay with how you guys have done it, but however it finalizes, I think it makes sense to show that on the survey plat. I think we usually require that. Survey plat's what gets recorded in the land records, and it's also like an easy, you know, clearly shows up without any confusion with people mistaking it for you know, like a contour line or any of the other lines going on.
Okay.
I guess I wanted to bring it up just because it seems like a large area of building envelope behind that underneath the retaining wall. And I guess I was just imagining someone like trying to bring a shed down there or build a building down there and then, I don't know, drive a four-wheeler up and down a steep slope or that big fill slope that you have to put in to achieve the driveway. I guess that's what gave me a little bit of hesitancy. I guess also, I mean, this house, we're not approving that exact location of the house. We're approving the building envelope. So the house could go further
South, or further west.
down that hill and
Yeah. It can't go too with the offsets from the septic system. It's basically probably going to stay where it's at.
Just have a square right there on this one, just behind the house that's on the proposed house now. There's already a square. There's no other.
Steep slope island.
Yeah. Steep slope island.
That doesn't show on this drawing, but I did.
Right, so the house really, I mean, yeah, but to your point about a shed or something, maybe.
I have to say, you know, having been out to the site, the fact that there is a steep slope going down to the house sets the house down kind of low, and there's actually quite a big berm that now between where the house is proposed and then up and over up to Irish Settlement Road. So all this development, even the driveway, really quickly drops off. Even though it's close to Irish, it quickly falls away. So it, to me, it doesn't have the same, I don't think it'll have the same that I kind of imagine being so close to the road. But it depends on grading and trees, if that's all kept along the road, like in your.
Yeah, I just think I mean, I get rid of my barrier you know, unless the town comes and does it like they did in my last house. Yeah, I did. They had some really nice trees and they came and chopped them all down.
Well, that's helpful, Matt. I wasn't able to make to this site visit. I did drive by today and kind of peered over the edge, and it seemed like all pretty steep, but I didn't get out and walk around. So thank you for sharing that.
Stephen, would you, if you were to guess, how big of an area would you say that building envelope is? Like an acre or under?
Give me 1 second here.
It's kind of like irregular shaped.
Yeah, my cat knows I'm on the, talking to you guys, so it's gonna do its best. So
Okay.
it's showing up as a half acre.
That's a building envelope? Okay.
Yeah, and that's not including the area that's would be taken out of it, which is, let's see, it's basically 20,000 square feet is what it's coming up as.
If I may, I was just going to add, to just address some of the things that Dan brought up, a shed or an accessory structure, unless Mike wanted to propose one as part of this, was just something that I would handle administratively. And as part of that, I would look to do a steep slopes review if a zoning permit application for that came along, as I would for anywhere else. So that's something that could be taken care of at a later point using the same standards, or we could take care of it now, I suppose. But that's that. And also just to note that typically building envelopes, at least in the DRB cases that I've handled so far, typically apply to just the primary dwelling or the primary use. But, and please correct me if I'm wrong here, Charlie. So I think unless we worded it differently in the decision, that's what it would apply to. And so a shed could potentially go elsewhere, but I think practically speaking, this is a pretty limited area. So I think just using my own imagination, I can't really think of a place where a shed would go that isn't, inside of this proposed building envelope as it's shown right now. I don't know if that
Yeah,
makes
no,
things
that's
clear or
helpful.
not. Okay.
Thank you.
Looking at you, looking at me, so I'm gonna
No,
look
no.
down the list.
No.
Until they have enough information.
However, you could put a shed way across the up on the side of the power line, right, all that flat area.
Or a sauna.
That's a long haul, man.
Yeah.
Are there any final comments from the board or the applicant or their representatives?
I think my final comment would be, I'd like to move this along and not let it drag out. And
Oh, come on, don't you want to come?
I know, I got some of my good friends here, but no, I mean, I honestly, I've done a lot that you guys have asked, and I'd like to just push it forward. And
Yeah, so you still have one more hearing.
I know.
So we can't get out of that.
Can I do a final right now?
Has to be warned, it's not.
No. I was told that. I was like, hey, what does that mean? So Nick is awesome. Yeah, you can't do that.
So I'll ask the board if they feel they have enough information at this time to make a decision on the preliminary plat application. And we can give Mike enough guidance on what we'd like to see in the final plat application.
I do.
Yeah, I do.
You shake your head.
Yes.
Okay. Motion then to close the evidentiary portion of the hearing.
Does that mean we still get a corrected version, like some of the?
So we can, yes, the answer to your question is yes, but we just asked for that as part of the additional submission.
Okay. Yeah, all right.
I mean, the other way is just hold the hearing open until it gives us a revised drawing. And then that just pushes everything out. And that's not a good use of our time. No, I don't think so.
I'll make a motion to
Close the evidentiary.
close the evidentiary.
I second that.
So motion by Matt and seconded by Brian to close the evidentiary portion of the hearing. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Now I'll ask for a motion to approve the application. As well as asking the board if you wish to discuss the application in open or deliberative session.
So I'll make a motion to approve Michael Moore's 2-lot subdivision of 319 Irish Settlement Road, and that we deliberate closed session by email and issue a written decision
Over email.
over email. Yep.
Is there a second to that? I'll second it. Okay, second it. Motion by Brian, seconded by Mark. We do it that way just so we can communicate over email on our decision process. It's not like there's going to be, we pretty much heard everybody's concerns and complaints. Okay. So, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. So, we're going to go into deliberative session on the application when we go leave tonight, I guess. We pass our decision around, everybody gets to review it. It just keeps the email from becoming discoverable in a court case. That's why we do it that way. At one time, we had attorneys on the board, and that's how they told us to do it. I don't know if that's correct. I don't know if that's correct anymore, but.
It's always good to have an engineer and an attorney, or at least something like that on the board if you can.
Yeah. So.
All right.
Decision as soon as we can.
I appreciate your time. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Have a good night.
You guys, thanks, Steve. Yeah. So we have other business we have to do, right?
I'm out. Yeah, you're done.
You're welcome to hang out.
Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Yeah, we're still,
Have a good night.
All right.
yeah, we're still recording. I'm just pulling up minutes to.
Oh, we have minutes?
Yeah, there's still watermarked as draft, but Charlie's willing to put his signature on them, and then I can drop the watermark and upload.
Goes out.
Yeah,
They're still taken by that woman, right?
they are indeed. Yes,
I don't even,
Yeah,
I mean,
trust her.
it's basically a transcript. Yeah.
if I'm short for time, I just search my name. Yeah, I'm okay.
Budget money.
We do, yeah. She said she was a little overwhelmed with all the ones that we're sending her, so I have been just sending her DRB stuff rather than planning commission as well. So I've been doing my own planning commission. Believe we have to go all the way back to September 19th, in fact. So we'll just get all 4 copies of this going.
You had too many meetings though, really?
No, I've been doing like
December,
one a month.
January off, yeah.
Yeah.
That should be nice.
It's nice space.
Did we have one in January?
Yeah, the very first week of January we did.
I mean, my point is, her notes are excellent.
Denied,
I don't
yes.
know how thoroughly we need to.
They're excellent, yeah.
Yeah. That was my.
The standard I hold myself to and don't, and fail to achieve most of the time. So let's see. Get these printed off.
Yeah, I'll grab those for you, Nick.
Thank you. We got one more coming off.
Okay.
Oh, are you taking the draft off?
I will, yeah. If I can get Charlie's signature, I can drop the draft watermark later on and then upload the whole thing.
November 7th, January 9th.
Thank you.
Or to get Charlie an e-signature?
I haven't
I believe you have one, right? Yeah.
I went to a Mac. I don't know if you noticed it, but I went to a Mac. And you don't even need an e-signature. You can like
Do it.
do it like this, and when I sign them now, my signature looks all nasty. I used to
Like
have,
the store credit card thing.
yeah, I used to have like, this was digitally signed by
Yeah.
date. I had one created for DRB stuff, one for my job. Now it's just
Now
this
it's
chicken
just
scratch
simple.
thing. So the January 9th special meeting was for final subdivision review, 40 Page Road, which is the decision that Brian's circulating.
The base.
That's the base subdivision.
Mhm.
So are there any changes to the minutes of January 9th? Members present were myself, Brian, Matt, Jeff, Dan, Lee, and Shane.
Say no.
Karen and Mark, you guys want to hear? All good to sign? Everybody? All right, I'm gonna sign this 6th day of February. I'm gonna sign this. You want to sign it?
Sign.
You're notarized. I'm a notary.
Are you?
Nice.
Not by choice.
Someone's got to do it.
Yeah,
Notaries are required.
yeah.
It's amazing.
Yes, I'm still a notary in New Mexico.
Well, don't get it in Vermont, because Vermont just required continuing education.
Really? Of course they did. Of course they did.
It's easy. I'm a notary.
Oh, yeah.
I went through the.
Yeah, you have to do that like 1 hour video.
Yeah, it was, they extracted money from me for that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really what they did.
That's the point.
Mm.
November 7th, regularly scheduled meeting. Continuation of Pamela Bates' final. This was just where we opened it and continued it. Opened at 6:30, miscellaneous business,
Mhm.
and adjourned.
Yeah.
And it was just on a go-to meeting. Do we have to do notes for that?
I don't know if we do or do not, but
You just signed that it happened.
I put that all together anyway,
Okay.
so.
Yeah, that was one with just Charlie and Nick. They're the only two there.
Yeah, I don't
I
think
didn't know if I was aware of it.
what else you got?
September, and then October, yeah.
Oh, this is a big one,
Yeah.
September.
That was Jacob's final, prelim and final.
Preliminary and final subdivision review, Phil Jacobs. We didn't approve
Long
it?
time ago.
I believe so.
Um,
Are draft minutes on the website until
They
they're
are.
approved?
They are, yeah. Donna just, she has website access and she posts them directly to the website and then emails me a copy of the.
So they've already been populated, really, it's just not signed.
Yeah, exactly.
So, motion to approve, I guess, the Jacobs subdivision, there's 9 pages of minutes.
I make a motion to approve the Jacob subdivision hearing on September 9th,
Second,
19th.
there's second, in discussion. All those in favor? signify by saying aye. Anybody opposed?
I just wasn't at that meeting, so I'm not gonna vote on that.
Motion carries. I'll vote in favor. Unless-
Which, was one of
Yeah,
That was Jacobs, that was September
I
19th.
think the open meeting law is like the
Yeah.
minutes have to be posted
And within so many days.
within, I think it's like 2 days or something.
Draft.
Draft minutes.
Oh,
And
okay.
then that's it. That's like all that has to happen. They don't even ever have to be
Be
approved.
signed.
That's my understanding as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is sort of like a.
Above and beyond.
Yeah.
You're really doing a great job.
We really are.
That's what people keep telling me.
We approved it.
is,
No,
Yeah,
6 months later.
yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
One more set of minutes to review, approve from Monday, October 3rd. Final subdivision review, Reg Matthew and Margaret Mungen. This is way far out, Poker Hill Road. Big giant swamp in the backyard.
Yeah, they're already starting
Log
on that.
cabin.
You know that?
They're already starting on that.
Yeah.
Mhm. House is for sale. Yeah.
Motion to approve, anyone?
What date was it? October what?
It was October 3rd.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from the October 3rd DRB meeting.
Okay. Second,
I'll second.
any discussion? Those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
So I have a quick question, and we could pertain it to this subdivision, I guess. So
Should we Deliberate?
Deliberative session?
Oh,
Is this deliberate? Is it deliberate?
it's a general question.
Okay.
Maybe I shouldn't, but yeah, I'll just go.
So motion to adjourn?
I would first like to thank Donna for her excellent notes.
Yes,
Um,
Don.
Yes,
Yeah,
Donna.
thank you.
Yeah, yeah, you are, please feel free to write that one into the record.
Yes.
Really deserve it. Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
So now motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I second that motion.
All those in favor of adjournment?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carried.